Ooh. You join me inside the 2021 Audi RS6 Avant, and this is a big one, a huge one for American car enthusiasts because for years we've salivated over the global market RS wagons, but never got one here in the US. We've had wagons from Audi, we've had RS products, but we've never had the two together. And you kind of understand why, because Americans talk a big game, but we don't actually back it up. We don't go buy the high performance wagons. We'll buy the sedans, we'll buy the SUVs, but we don't go buy the wagons. That's why Audi hasn't given us what we've asked for so long, but now they have. And the field of competitors of these high performance wagons is pretty small because we don't actually buy them. We've got the Mercedes-AMG E63S wagon, and we have the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo Turbo S wagon. We had a Jaguar XF Sport Brake S for a while, but it was kind of a class down and no one bought it, so they discontinued it. What's the point? If you look at photos and a spec sheet, the Audi RS6 Avant appears to be very much legit, but this review is not going to be photos or a spec sheet. We're gonna go in depth on this RS6 Avant and see if it's everything we hoped it would be. That's today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the 2021 Audi RS6 Avant. This one right here is finished in Sebring Black Crystal Effect. And let me tell you, the metallic flake here is intense. So intense. You can actually see it sparkle at you from like 10 feet away. It's an extra $1,000 for this paint job and worth every penny in my opinion, because it's not your average black. Now, before we get too deep into this review, couple things for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I really think you should. I suggest you subscribe, because if you do that, you'll get access to daily videos, POV day drives, POV night drives, live Q&As, and reviews like this one. You don't want to miss out on any of that. So all you got to do is hit subscribe and tap the bell to get notified, and just start enjoying the car content. If you have been enjoying and you want to help out, you can do so simply by liking, commenting, and sharing this video, or become a patron on our Patreon account, or pick up a Miles Per Hour t-shirt like the one I'm wearing, the Big Bottle Test shirt. I know you saw it in that intro, but you can wear it too. And without further ado, let's dive right back in to the RS6 Avant. And let's speak first about wagons in the US. There just aren't many of them. We've got a few models, but they're just not as common as you're gonna see overseas in Europe. So the arrival of the RS6 Avant is notable for people who like the low profile, long-bodied wagons. The RS6 Avant's approach is typical Audi in that it's, it can be subtle if you're, I guess used to seeing a wagon or two, but not everywhere. They can't hide the muscle that is inside. And we'll see that as we go around, specifically looking at those fender flares. Let's start at the front though. So we have our typical 4 rings, and those are going to be in this reflective finish here. But if you get the carbon package or the black optic package, then they will be black. And this car only has a couple exterior options and a couple interior options. It doesn't have the laser headlights, and it doesn't have any of those carbon or black optic packages. So we're gonna have our R6 badging, that's gonna be standard. And we're gonna have this alu optic, Audi calls it, kind of like a silvery finish for the front splitter. But if you get the carbon or the black optic, that will be black or in carbon fiber. Large air intakes in the front, air dam, and then on the side here, more alu optic for these panels right here. Those again would be black or carbon if you had one of those two packages. Matrix LED headlights are standard, like some of the other German manufacturers, you get like these blue details on the inside. That is dead bug. But beyond the dead bug, gosh, that's hard to unsee. I'm sorry about that. The Matrix LED headlights are really cool. They do some fun signatures at night that I can show you. But those are going to be standard. And then as we work to the side here, we'll see, oh my gosh, these wheels. Every time I just sort of like come around the corner and look at them, I'm like, man, those are huge. And they really are. 22-inch wheels. These are an optional upgrade. 21-inch wheels are standard. 21-inch wheels are standard on this car, but you can get 22s. And I'll tell you what, they may be massive, but because of the design language of this car, the really sharp lines on the vehicle, they just work. And I like the wheel design. I do. It's a fun spin on the 5-spoke because they have these little branches that come off and they look like they're in motion. They're super cool wheels. And let me tell you, because of the air suspension, I'll get into this in the review, the ride quality, even though you've got these skinny little sidewalls, not so bad. But I'm not gonna spoil that part of the review. So let's just, the wheels. They're in this bright finish and they pop out at you if you're seeing the car in profile. And I think they just set off the stance, the big 4-corner stance of this RS6 Avant. I'm big thumbs up for the wheels. I like that. At first, I was like, geez, 22-inch wheels, that's too much, but I like them. In here, we're gonna have a set of steel brakes. Carbon ceramic brakes are gonna be optional for like $9,000. The standard steel brakes though, no problems with stopping power. I could not for the life of me find the spec on the size of the front and rear rotor. So if you know it, comment that. But I believe there's 6-piston front and 2-piston rear or single piston floating, not sure. If you do know, again, let me know in the comments below. Couldn't find it off the top of my head. Okay, and then we've got that alloy optic material for that side trim piece. Again, that would be carbon fiber or black. Another carbon fiber or black piece with the package would be the mirror caps, but here they're alloy optic. And you know what? I don't think you need those packages because I like the alloy optic with the wheels and everything else. It sets off nicely with this Sebring black paint job. More alloy optic for the window trim. And I like that the B and C pillars are blacked out, so it looks just like it flows. It doesn't have the breakup of the alloy optic within the pillars. Looking at the profile, the good stuff. Low and long, that is this wagon, low and long. And so beautiful. I love that silhouette. I love the way the rear glass slopes. I love the symmetry with that D pillar back there. Man, it's good. They did such a nice job on the design of this vehicle. And now I'm gonna come back up close because I want you to see, well, actually, let's go to the rear first, then I'll point it out from there. The back is just as good as every other angle of this vehicle, which is to say, fantastic and just striking. I can't even use the word handsome here because it's not. It's powerful and it is enrapturing. I don't know, it really draws you in. But not in the way a handsome vehicle. You don't go, oh, that's a handsome estate right there. You go, dang, that is a shockingly beautiful car. Okay, so down low, just the muscle of this vehicle. Look at that diffuser and look how prominent it is. And then moving back here, look at these fender flares. They just really just like stretch the body panels out, giving the wheel housings a good solid stance. I love it. I really, really love the aggression, the power of this vehicle. So at the back here, we're looking at that diffuser in alloy optic, these large oval exhaust ports that are typical of RS vehicles. Alloy optic detailing on the diffuser, and just, I mean, again, so look how far this just sticks out. It's like, brr, diffuser. And then we've got mesh panels above. They are not actual mesh. It's mesh honeycomb design. That's a piece of piano black right there. At least it's not plastic cladding. But yeah, they are not pass-through. It's not real mesh. Up here, we're looking at the LED taillights. Matrix, again, just like the front. Do some cool signatures at night. Again, I will show you. 4 rings on the trunk lid. RS6 badging below the left tail light. Oh, so good. So good. Looking up here at the roof. The alu optic for the roof rails. And then pretty subtle roof mounted spoiler here. Doesn't jut out way too far. Cohesive. Everything is cohesive. Everything is striking. Good. Audi, very nicely done with the exterior design. Let's check out that interior now. All right, heading inside, we can see that we've got smart key access here. That's the indent right there. So all you gotta do is put your finger on that and it'll lock the doors. Pull the handle to unlock, and we've got that at front and rear doors to maximize convenience. Open it up, and let's see what we've got going on inside. Ooh, that's cool. Audi Sport logo pops up on the digital gauge cluster, and then, yeah, your tachometer. That's rad. Look at these seats. They're spectacular. I love the color. Cognac leather seating surfaces, Valcona leather, no cost option. They are heated and ventilated, and mostly just look at the contrast. The black and cognac, that is probably how I'd spec my RS. It's so good. We do have RS badging embossed on the back of the seats, perforation for that leather, and this is a pretty neat design, very Audi-esque with the geometric and the sharpness and the futurism. But great seats, very nice that these RS buckets are standard. Lightly optioned interior like the exterior, just 2 packages here to note. We've got the executive package, which means that you're gonna get extended leather for the sills, the armrests, the dashboard with that same gray contrast stitch that is on the seats. Nice continuity. And then for the center console right there, that's gonna be extended leather. You are going to get heated rear seats as part of the executive package. You'll get a head-up display that I'll show you in a sec, and then you'll get soft closed doors. What that means is it'll finish the job for you if you don't actually close your door all the way. Very important, very nice detail. Let's look at the door panels themselves. So we've got this leather trim up here, then we have this aluminum anthracite. Almost looks like carbon fiber, but you get closer, like, no, that's not actually carbon fiber. It is not really textured. You can feel like bumps beneath the surface, but it's not the texture I was kind of hoping for looking at it. It looks like it's very 3D. Then we've got aluminum door handles, all good stuff, all good quality. More aluminum trim down here. This is gonna be injection molded, so not real leather, but at least it's not hard, scratchy plastic. It's injection molded. Down here, we've got some nice Alcantara for the inserts there. That says sporty. That says sporty, that's good. Then more of that cognac leather on the armrest. This is a very soft plastic right here. I like the texture of that. That's good, not hard, scratchy. That's high quality plastic right there. Aluminum trim pieces for the window switches, and all of these are gonna be auto one touch, up, down. Press once, pull, up you go. And then we've got, this is a nice detail, knurled finish for the window, or the door mirror controls with piano black up top. Look at that detailing. That's cool. That is cool. Nerd worthy. Down here, more injection molding. It is, you know, cheaper, but not quite as cheap as hard plastic. Then we've got Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system. That's a standard detail. Very nice, good sound system. Trunk release. Pull and hold it once. Goes up. Very high, and then pull and hold it one more time and it'll lower. You can let go to have it stop halfway or make it go all the way. All right, so that's the doors. We've got this RS6 illuminated tread plates, look cool at night, along with Audi Sport that comes off the doors at night. Another nice detail. Get you a B-roll shot of that. And now it's time to hop inside. Ease on in here. Close this, soft close. Finish the job. Thank you. Okay, so we're just in accessory mode right now. We can see the ambient lighting on the center. That's pretty neat. But let's fire her up. press the red bordered start stop button. Nice little bit of an overrun there when you start up. That's pretty cool. Looking at the steering wheel, injection molding, not leather. I wish that was leather, but unlike the E63 I was just in, at least they do nicer detailing here. There is like this brushed aluminum trim for the Audi logo in the center and then around the borders of the steering wheel. Still not leather like I want, but okay, I'll give them a pass because they do nice detailing. Here on the steering wheel, we're gonna have piano black. That is going to smudge. It already is smudged here, just touching it a couple times. Volume controls, seat controls, voice command controls, answering your phone connected via Bluetooth, and then your RS mode. You're gonna have 2 RS modes. Tap it once, go into RS1, tap it again, RS2, and tap it a third time, and it's gonna go back to whatever drive mode you're in. Paddles on the steering wheel are pretty dinky. They're kind of small, but at least they, again, detailing, this is pretty nice. The cutouts here, and that's real aluminum. It feels solid. Steering wheel, perforated leather, perforated Valcona leather. No real, oh, there is that gray contrast stitch. I corrected myself. Gray contrast stitch. That is nice. RS at the bottom of the wheel on a piano black backing with sort of that aluminum trim. And then over here left side, we're gonna have controls for the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. Audi's virtual cockpit is standard on this car, as is the 10.1-inch infotainment here and the 8.6-inch infotainment there. Infotainment settings, and I'll get into that in a second. Anyway, so here are your controls for that. You can hit the view button to make the speedo and tach or other information slide out, giving you a greater bit of real estate for these functions in the center. You can scroll through those. Telemetry, fuel consumption. I promise it's not like that normally. Just on a short drive here. Long-term memory, driver assistance features, traffic sign recognition. That is part of the driver assistance package. Then we can cruise over to see our media settings, radio, media. Then navigation. It's like one of the eye-popping features from a few years ago when virtual cockpit was introduced. Having the map, Google Maps, take over the whole display is super cool. Still cool now, but we're getting kind of used to it. Hit view again, and it'll slide back out, and this is your orientation of the tachometer with that bent portion up there at the top, taking you to a just under 7,000 RPM red line. Over on the right side, you can adjust what's shown here through the settings in the infotainment, but right now we just have displayed power, torque, and the boost. Off to the right, there's going to be a digital adjusting gauge for your fuel economy. It's not going to stay there too long. Then off to the left, your oil temperature gauge. That is the gauge cluster, and these are your controls for that. This, you can adjust what's displayed on the left-hand side by pressing this OK and scrolling through it. And then we're gonna have some, let me show you more of the paddle real quick. Here's the back side of the paddle. Not a ton of travel, pretty dinky in terms of the travel, and that I wish was a little better. You don't have a manual transmission, so you need some engagement factor. I want more travel out of my paddle, but at least it feels high quality. So, okay, over here, we're gonna have our adaptive cruise control setup, and that is the second package this car is equipped with. It has the driving assistance package, which includes adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, traffic sign recognition, automatic emergency braking, and Audi side assist, and some other goodies. But that's all in one nice package for like $2,200. I did forget to mention the executive package is like $2,500, but I'm sure that JD included a card with the price. So that's your stock there. And then you've got another stock up here, obviously for your turn signals. And of course you can just do a one touch and have it blink 3 times. Over here, you've got a button over here that you press in, that turns on your lane keeping assist function. And Audi's lane keep assist system is very, very good. I'll get more into that during the driving portion. Piano black with the aluminum borders there for your light settings. And you just tap it and it will adjust which light mode you want to be in. That dashboard is just very, very nice. The leather feels superb. Superb. Okay, moving off to the right now. Let's get into the infotainment. This thing is pretty nifty. So Audi's capacitive touch infotainment is in its latest generation, and it's very, very good. I'll get into my one minor complaints in a minute, but let's first poke around this thing. So we have these tiles here, and it's cool because they're kind of interactive. You press it, see the lights go on for the Audi there. Diving into the vehicle, we've got Audi Drive Select modes. Comfort, Auto, and Dynamic. Going through the modes are going to adjust the visual there. Then you've got these RS modes that I showed you on the steering wheel, but you can individualize them by pressing on the sort of like scribble pad there. And in RS1, you can adjust these things: the drive, the suspension, the steering, the engine sound, and the sport differential, aka the electronic limited slip rear differential. RS2, you get one more adjustment. So same stuff, plus the traction control system. Do you want to turn it on fully or put it into sport mode? So that's your RS control. It also is an air suspension, so you can raise and lower it independently and manually. Going back out here, the RS monitor is kind of fun. You get some cool information like engine temp and other temperatures of your car, coolant, differential. Then you've got a G meter here, and then your tire pressure monitor that'll only work when you're in motion at a certain speed. So that's your RS monitor. Lighting and visibility. You're gonna get standard ambient lighting and a bunch of different colors to choose from. You can use like these combo colors here. You got red and blue, and then some other colors. Then you can individualize. You can also have your drive select change the color. When you go into a different drive mode, it'll change the color. Surfaces and lines. So you see we have different surfaces and line colors there. You can change that individually to go through any one of these, 30 colors, I believe? Purple through white. Yeah, 30 different colors you can choose from. You can have it illuminate the footwells or not. And then your lines do the same thing, same number of colors there. Going back out. And yeah, the capacitive touch thing is when I press on it, I hear the click, but I also feel like I'm pressing in. It's a really cool technology where it gives you the sensitivity like you're actually pressing a button. So more confidence than when you're pressing a button where you're looking at the road, you don't want to be distracted, so you press it and you're like, did it actually go through? Because touchscreens, normal touchscreens, you don't feel anything. But capacitive touch is sort of bridging the gap between physical controls and these touch controls. Driver assistance features, you can adjust those. Going back out to home. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is going to be standard, which is great. You don't have to plug in. So I'm using my phone to record this, and I'm going to pull up Apple CarPlay here. Or am I? Maybe. System seems to be having, there we go. Okay. Took a second. Doesn't normally take that. So if your phone's already paired up, then when you get in the car, turn it on. CarPlay is just going to show up if you have it set up that way. But it takes over the whole real estate of the screen. I like that. There is a bit of glare on this screen. It's not awful, to be honest, but there is some glare. So you've got your apps there. And then you press the Audi MMI to go back to the MMI infotainment. So yeah, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, good stuff. Navigation is also going to be standard here. And with Google Earth powering this, it's really crisp visuals and very interactive, very easy to use. You can also input destinations via the bottom screen. So you can go down here, and this becomes something you can type all your letters in or scribble whole words in here. So and then
PACIFIC.
Interesting. Sometimes it'll actually just say the whole word, like Pacific. So that's one cool detail, and that's something that you can use the bottom screen for. More on this bottom screen now. It's going to basically house all of your climate controls as standard. There's 4-zone climate control in this car as standard. Really good stuff. And heating and ventilation, I already mentioned, is going to be standard. 3 settings for each of those. The climate control thing is pretty neat. So you can either just individually go up and down, or you can hold your finger and just slide it down and up. And it's pretty accurate, so it shouldn't be that distracting to you. You can have some shortcuts here from the top menu that will pull those down, and some other settings. You can turn off the display from here. Bye-bye. Then just tap it to turn it back on. Adjust where the air is going to flow, automatic mode, and then you've got your Drive Select button down here to access all of the things I just showed you in Drive Select. Traction control system, that you can tap once to go into sport mode, burp, sport, or hold it to turn traction control off completely. There you go. Got to hold it for like 5 seconds. Down here, we've got our parking sensors, and gosh, that thing gets very loud. I think you can adjust the volume of it, but it just gets so loud. Then you've got 3D surround view. So this is going to be a standard feature of the RS6, and it's awesome. Just getting to drag this around. One, if you just want to play with it, it's pretty fun, but it's also very useful if you're just not sure how close you are to an object. And you've got all those different angles. And then, you know, we got front view, front wide view, overhead view, back wide, front side views of your front wheels, of the back wheels, critical because you do not want to be scraping up these 22s. They're not cheap and they're just prettier when they're not scraped. Okay, so that's all that stuff. Your driving assistance, access buttons right there. Physical volume knob over here with a knurled finish to it, and seat controls there. That's nice. If your hand's already down here, you don't have to lift it back up to the steering wheel to crank up the volume there or to go into the infotainment. It's just down there, easy access. The one complaint I have about the MMI infotainment though is that there isn't a secondary like scroll trackpad thing down here, even a wheel like BMW's iDrive or Mercedes-Benz's MBUX system, something secondary so you didn't have to touch the screen. And you don't have enough controls on here. These controls dictate that, but there's nothing on the wheel like in a Mercedes-Benz vehicle that can control the infotainment. And that means that you have to touch it. You have to take your hand off the wheel to control something on the infotainment. You can't just leave it down here and adjust something there. Audi used to have like a secondary scroll wheel down here that would adjust some of the infotainment functions. They got rid of that when they went to this newest generation of MMI. And I wish they had left something like that so that you wouldn't have to touch it. You get used to it, but it just would reduce some of the driver distraction there. Anyway, so this key, let's look at the key. 4 rings down there, piano black backing, which I don't love because even though it looks cool, it smudges and scratches and the key won't always look awesome. You do have RS on the back with your panic button. And there's a nice slot there for the key to go in, so it's not going to slosh around. Looking back at the center console here, the leather wrapping on there with the gray contrast stitching, very, very nice. This aluminum piece there. Lift up. You don't even have to release anything, you just lift it up. And you've got a wireless smartphone charging pad. That is standard, as is the dual USB-C ports, so the latest charging technology. Not much storage in this RS6 Avant. Not much storage at all. You have the door pockets, cup holders, very shallow center console, and your glove box. But places to put stuff, there isn't quite a lot of it. Forgot to mention the parking brake, aluminum plated there. Lift up, press down. Looking over here, more of that aluminum anthracite trim up there. Again, every time I look at it, I'm like, it's gotta be textured, right? Not really, no. But I like the aluminum borders within the Quattro. Hard to see, but can we see it? Yes, there we go. You can see that this is illuminated at night. It looks awesome. I'll show you a specific B-roll clip of that. That looks much better. Down here, glove box. Open that up. You do have a aluminum piece there that adds to the quality. Injection molding below that. Kind of shallow glove box there, but I think we can fit good stuff. I think we can fit good stuff in there. Let's actually test. Let's find out. It's time for the big bottle test in the RS6 Avant. So let's try the cup holders. I'm not optimistic. No. Center, I'm not even gonna lift that up. It's too shallow. Door pockets? No. So we have to try the glove box. We have to do it. I'm gonna throw it in. Not really optimistic, but whoa, all right. Okay, so it fits in the glove box, but I still don't really want to give it a pass. I think I'm still just lingering upset about the fact that there's not a lot of storage. So I'm gonna say it's a fail for the RS6 Avant at that big bottle test. Bye-bye. Looking up here, we've got some controls. So the lights, LED lights, you turn them on just by pressing them. That's neat. Fabric, headliner here, not Alcantara. You can add Alcantara if you want. And then we have a panoramic roof as standard. And by panoramic, I mean they actually split the sunroof into two sections. So over the front passengers and over the rear passengers. Your controls for the roofs are here. So you can just put a shade over the rear. You can, you can open up the front there. You can put a shade over the front. This, I don't know why, but for me, I just like, it's illogical because they close in different ways. This one closes forward, that one closes backward. And so I'm always toggling the wrong way. That is probably just me. Yeah, see, I pressed it that way, but it's actually the other direction. If you want to open up the sunroof, please get this right. I did, I got it right. I'm so proud of myself. You've got the wind deflector netting right there, but the sunroof only goes back that far. It's a pretty good size piece of glass over the front two occupants, but the fact that it only goes back that far is kind of a bummer. Sun visors. Nice that it's in that same material that's on the headliner. That feels quality. And importantly, yes, they do slide. They slide. Critical. These grab handles are kind of cheapier plastic. I wish they did something there. Just a piece of leather or something right there would be nice. And then there is your head-up display. See, we've got the speed limit posted. I don't think the speed limit in this parking lot is 40, but I guess they're close, maybe. And then your actual speed down there. So with that out of the way, let's hop into the back seats. You can see more of that ambient lighting here. Hop into those back seats and see what we're working with. The rear doors are also soft close, which is nice. Sometimes you're just getting the front doors. Here, you get both. Looking inside, more of that gorgeous cognac leather. And I also love that the same designs of the front buckets are here. These are actually like half aggressively bolstered, which is pretty neat. So you feel like you have these sport buckets in the rear seats. The fifth passenger right there in the middle, sorry. It's kind of a bummer for you. Doors, you do get standard window shades. They don't cover up every part of the door, of the window, however. It's kind of a bummer. Down here, we've got that leather with the contrast stitching in gray. Same as the front doors, which is nice. I like the symmetry there. So we've got the anthracite aluminum, Alcantara, leather, same soft plastic, and the one-touch down and up windows. However, these windows don't go all the way down. This bothers me. Look how much glass is still left up. Bothers me, because if you get an adult back here, you want the window to go all the way down. It just sucks. Down here, more injection molding, more Bang & Olufsen speaker covers. And then you don't get an RS tread plate, but you do get illumination in that piece right there, and that is aluminum. This is all plastic, that's fine. I don't really care. Let's hop in. Close up this door. And take care of the rest. Okay. So back here, this is all very hard plastic. That bums me out. Strong disconnect between the leather and this. Wish it was at least injection molding, but they went hard plastic there. And netting. The netting is going to sag, and that's going to look awful very soon. I like what the other manufacturers have been doing with like elastic here and like a leather or injection molding panel that pulls back. The netting looks fine right now. The moment you start putting stuff in there, it's going to sag and look awful. But let's talk practically. Legroom. Legroom is very, very good back here. I'm 6 feet tall, sitting behind my own driving position, and look at all that knee room. That's awesome. Really, really good. Looking up here at the cockpit, looks pretty neat. How about headroom? Headroom's pretty decent. It's great, actually. I have a longer torso, and to have this much headroom is a win. You've got grab handles in the back, all important. You have the LED lights, press on and off, coat hanger hooks, air vents in the door. They're in the B-pillar. More ambient lighting here, so you get ambient lighting in the back too. I love the, didn't talk about this before, but the grab handle on the door. Just such a nice, firm, high quality piece. You have that same soft plastic in the back that is around these window switches That's a win. That's high quality. God, continuity. Make that nice too. 4-zone climate control I mentioned, and the heated rear seats is going to be part of the executive package. Look at all the nice plug-in ports that we have here. We have 2 more USB-C ports back here for the rear passengers, along with a DC socket. So no fighting over smartphone charging. Slide up and down or press, just like the front. That's pretty neat. And then, you know, each rear passenger gets their climate control. Again, sorry, middle guy or gal. This folds down. You have, oh, well, that happens. You have these cup holders that come out by pressing. And then you have this leather top piece, nice place to rest your arm, along with a shallow but carpeted little panel in here. That's nice detailing. Very, very nice. 99% of the details in the RS6 are good. They just miss out on a couple things. Nice big piece of glass back here over the rear passengers. So it feels like it's light and airy in this rear atmosphere. And yeah, with all this legroom and headroom, I would not mind taking this on a nice road trip. We would get there very quickly too, because, you know, 600 horsepower, 590, whatever. And then over the back, let's go to the trunk, because there's some very fun things I want to point out in the trunk. Doors open nice and wide as well, making it really easy to get into that back seat. You can option in the motion sensor trunk. This one doesn't have it as standard, so you got to press that button back there beneath the 4 rings, and that'll pop right open. Again, nice and high. My mom has an A4 all-road, and I hit my head on this thing all the time. Here, I can just barely clear it. Just barely clear it, and that's important because that's hard plastic and that would hurt. It does hurt, let me tell you, it does hurt. Looking at this trunk, lots of storage space. That's the brilliance of a wagon. I'll list the specs for with the seats in place and with them folded down right here, but just know, this is the brilliant part of a wagon. It has SUV utility, but that low-slung, sexy shape. This under here is not going to reveal spare tire. They're huge. They would not fit back here. And I'm honestly not sure what would fit under there. Not much. You do have some tools. These are apparently missing on this press vehicle. These are anchors that you can put on this sliding rail, so you can tie down your cargo, make that nice and neat. Big cubby in here with netting. So if you wanted to probably do golf clubs across the back, I think you could there, or long ways, no problem. Love this. It's a small thing, but it adds up. In terms of lost frustration, it adds up to so much back here. The latches that you can pull here and fold those seats down. And you don't even pull them and have to push in. You can just pull the latches and the seats fold right down. That is so good. So much value right there. Seriously, the frustration of having to go around and release the seats, which you can do, and you'll have to put them back up manually, but just these controls to lift those down is so important. This trunk cover, or this cargo cover thing, is really cool. I'll show you why. One, it's got Avant into the handle. That's just, look at the detailing. That's awesome. It's such a cool cargo cover. So anyway, lifts up here and slides up. When you close this back hatch, watch what's gonna happen. Inside, ignore the dirt, that's gonna slide down and cover up your cargo. So it's out of the way for you to mess around in the back, and it will slide back up when you go inside. But the moment you close the back glass, you'll know that your stuff is secured. That's really neat. And then of course you can put it away fully. When you take it out, which you do by pulling up and releasing this, you're gonna get access to another piece down here that you can lift up and in to these slots. I can't do it one-handed. Oh, I almost did it one-handed. You can lift it up and into those slots, and now you have a separator between the rear passengers and the cargo back here. Nice detailing, so functional, so useful. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So you have the automatic trunk, or yes, auto trunk close, and then you have a lock button that will close and lock the vehicle. So let's close that up. Let's look at the fuel door. Ugh, capless filling. Why isn't there capless filling in a vehicle this expensive, this premium? Capless filling, come on. And you do have to use 91 at a minimum. Almost flat, by the way, not fully flat with those seats. Just a small ramp up there. Gotta give it the beans. But now it's time to hop inside, rev it up. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. And take it for a drive. All right, let's just get right into it, huh? Launch control. The way you activate that in the RS6 Avant is you go to Drive Select, Dynamic Drive Mode, which means you're also in Sport Transmission. Hit the traction control button, hold it for 5 seconds, taking you past ESC Sport to fully off. Then from there, it's real easy. Hold your foot on the brake, give it gas, let it build up to 2,500, and let go. Oh, the hit and the build. Oh, wow. Okay, so not the most violent of launches, but when you get going, my goodness, do you get going. And that quattro all-wheel drive means there's no slip. Let's take this right into some canyon roads. I'm gonna put the traction control back on and leave it in auto mode, see what the transmission does here. Like the noise of that exhaust when you're on full throttle, for sure. And the goodness, so smooth and so vicious is this power. Braking feel, fantastic. Such good brakes. Those 10 pistons up front. Can't even, okay, I'm done talking. I'm just enjoying. Turn in is immediate. And the quattro just ripping you through the corners with that sport differential in the back. It's good. It's very, very good. And I'm definitely just gonna turn around and do that all over again. The turn in was very, very good, very sharp. But I didn't get a ton of feel through the wheel. I got enough to know what the front tires were doing, but not much more than that. It wasn't overly generous in terms of steering feel. Let's see about this turning radius here. Now, I don't have the four-wheel steering option that is available for this vehicle, which would reduce the turning circle and give you some of that high-speed stability beyond what it already has that I just experienced there. But still, a very good turning radius and no problems in terms of stability. Quattro all-wheel drive doesn't mess around. You never feel like you're gonna get in trouble. And this engine is sensational. We've seen it in some other Audi products and even the Lamborghini Urus, but it's just really good here. Really good here. The transmission, leaving it in auto, does such a good job. I'm gonna kick it over to manual, see how holding my own paddles will do. Man, the brakes. Brakes are so good. Pretty much leave this in third gear here. Oh, shifts are so quick. So quick. Downshifts and upshifts. This is a great transmission. Solid gearbox. Very little to complain about from a performance standpoint. What can I even say? I would like a tiny bit more feel through the wheel. That's it. It was so solid in there. Those were higher speed corners, so it's hard to test for understeer, but I didn't feel any plowing whatsoever. It just pivoted the car so nicely and then gave it power. I think that electronic locking rear differential helps in that regard. Okay, let's talk about the engine. Get to that finally. This sweet 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that makes 591 horsepower in this application and 590 pound-feet of torque, connected to an 8-speed automatic gearbox, and of course, quattro all-wheel drive. That means that if I did the launch control right at the beginning, I would have hit 60 miles an hour in just 3.5 seconds. I don't think it was perfect. There were some undulations in the road, but it felt really quick. It didn't feel violent, but it felt smooth and no drama. And no drama means you're getting to 60 fast, very fast. If I had enough runway, I would see 189 miles an hour as well. Ugh. The only downside to all of that power and the twin turbo V8 is the fuel economy. You're getting 15 city, 22 highway, and 17 combined. Nothing to write home about. You're kind of seeing it across the board with these high potent, high power V8s in these performance sedans, estates, SUVs, fuel economy in that range, but you know, it's not sensational. This gearbox, as I experienced in auto mode, it gave me the downshift just right. It upshifted perfectly and quickly. In the manual mode, even though these paddles are big and very exciting, they work. And the gear shifts in manual mode, it will let you hold it all the way out to red line, and the shifts are just quick. They're so quick. This is very much an RS product. This isn't an S Lite. This is a full-bore Audi Sport, developed from the ground up product to be just amazing to drive. And it really is. And you know, my typical complaint with Audi's performance vehicles is that the all-wheel drive system plays it safe. That didn't feel like they were nannying me like at all. It felt like I got exactly what I wanted, and that was with traction control on. And now it's time to talk about the other parts of the of the RS portfolio here, and that is a question as to whether they went too hardcore and pulled away from some of the luxury properties. And for that, to answer that, I'm going to go into comfort mode. I'm still jumbled around. That was so much fun. Going to comfort mode really eases things up. The throttle response is much lighter. The steering feel is less resistance. There's not any more or less feedback in comfort versus the dynamic mode, but it does reduce the resistance in the steering wheel. You feel much more at ease. And of course, that exhaust noise is much more tame at this point. So cruising along, what I'm experiencing is a very tranquil cabin, very quiet in here. I've noted at freeway speeds, I mean, I'm doing 60 miles an hour right now, and it's effectively as close to silent as you're gonna get with a naturally aspirated car. The cabin insulation is really very good. These seats are superbly comfortable. I wish I had massaging functionality at this price tag, but hey, heating and ventilation is really good, and I feel so well supported. It hugs my body nicely in the corners, but also doesn't feel like it's too cramped for me to take this on a long cruise. And the ride quality, this air suspension is standard, is so good. It completely negates the small sidewall, the tiny bit of sidewall that you have on these 22-inch wheels. And that's what I was wondering. When I saw this car in photos, the first thing I thought is, oh, the ride quality is gonna be garbage. But it just isn't. It's so good. This air suspension soaks everything up. I'm on a smooth road right here, but I've driven it on bumpier stuff, and it just takes all of the harshness out, giving you a very mellow, pleasant, luxury, thoroughly luxury driving experience. And to the point of luxury, you ask about the technology and the convenience features. I showed you in depth the infotainments and the digital gauge cluster and all that. That's on the cutting edge there. And safety features are superb. If you get that driver assistance package, then you're going to get the adaptive cruise control and the steering assistance, and those work really, really well. Like as good as the best in this segment. Mercedes-Benz is kind of like spearheading that, in my opinion. Audi is right there with them. Tesla, also very good, but all of these car makers are making semi-autonomous systems that you don't really have to expect that they're going to fail at every minute. You need to have your hands ready just in case, but they're just very good at this point, and Audi is no exception here. I'm going to turn down this road where I'm going to have some more corners, and so let's go into the RS mode. So you hit this button here on the steering wheel. I'm in RS1. RS2 would turn off traction control in my case, as I've set it up individually. So I'll leave that on and go for it. Uphill power through these tighter corners. Let's see if it's gonna plow at all. Hard on the brakes, turn in, give it power just to be dumb. Nope, nope, no. This is good. This is very, very good. What Audi has accomplished here is incredible for a wagon. That E63 I was in just recently, the wagon, the 2020 model, yeah, they made changes for 21, but that wouldn't have done that nearly as confidently. I feel like our wait has been rewarded here. American enthusiasts, I feel like we're finally getting the reward we've long wanted. It's here and it's good. This Audi RS6 Avant is sensational. But let's talk about the competition. I mentioned it loosely, but let's talk competitors here. RS6 Avant starts at $110,000. This one has tested $117,000, pretty lightly optioned as these German super vehicles can become. So $117,000 isn't bad. Okay, taking it out of RS so I can talk to you without all of that exhaust noise. E63S is going to be $113,500 to start. It's going to make 603 horsepower, slightly more. 0 to 60 is going to be just a bit quicker, 3.1 seconds to 60, and top speed is going to be less, 180 miles an hour. Fuel economy is going to be 1 mpg better at 18 combined. Cargo is going to be about the same. Then there is the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo Turbo S. I always have to go through that in my head because it's a lot of words. But that's going to be like $175,000 to start, so a big step up. The performance, 620 horsepower, 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds, so a little more power, a little quicker to 60. And the fuel economy is going to be like 19 to 20, so a little bit better in terms of fuel economy. Cargo capacity is going to be slightly higher at like 64 cubic feet of space. It's a very long vehicle. So with that spread, how does the R6 Avant stack up? For the money, I cannot think of a better way to spend your $100,000+ on a practical performance vehicle. And I'm including SUVs in this right now. This R6 Avant is incredible. It's so good that I hope Audi sells every last one of them, except for one, maybe, so that I can buy it when I stumble into lottery size winnings, can afford this. But man, this thing is so good. I'm in love. I want it. And I think Audi didn't just give, here you go. You asked for it, fine, we'll give you something. They gave us their best work. This R6 Avant is sensational. And it's the best high performance wagon out there. We waited this long. Audi gave it to us. It's the best one out there. And yes, it may not have a drift mode like the E63S wagon, and that's just super fun, but it has everything else going for it. The luxury in here, the technology is great. I still wish there was some non-touch function to control the infotainment, but you got voice commands, and those are actually pretty good in this car. And fuel economy could do with 1 or 2 mpg more. Those are the only things I can say that I don't love about this R6 Avant. And I typically can find a lot to say that I don't like about a car. So Audi, you done good, and please just cut the price like $100,000 so I can go buy it for my $10,000, please. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you next time. Till then, have a great day. I am